Hello, it is me, Laura. Welcome to my Q&A. Look, I have a tree. Isn't that so cool? It was in my living room and I was like, no, I need it for my Q&A. So I literally moved it over here. It was falling apart because it's made of 3 sections, and as I lifted it up, it was all falling apart and I was like balancing it in my arms, but now it's here. Today we're gonna do a Q&A because I asked you guys on my Instagram story if you guys have any questions for me. So many people have found out who I am somehow and it's wild to me. So I have literally pages upon pages of questions. If I don't get to all of them, I'm so sorry. And then while we do that, I'm going to wrap gifts. Yeah. So I am getting over a cold, so excuse my voice. I have a coffee. Delish. Okay, let's get into it. First section, broad and fun. What is your favorite food? I love food so much. My favorite food, like in general, like that I could eat every single day, is salmon. I love salmon with my whole heart. I feel like I could eat it all the time and not get sick of it. For like festive holiday that like is kind of more rich, twice baked potatoes, chef's kiss, and stuffing. So we're gonna start wrapping. No. Would you rather have a chocolate flavored onion or onion flavored chocolate? Chocolate flavored onion, obviously. What's your favorite dinosaur and why? Triceratops! Like, I don't actually know anything about Triceratops, but my brother and I, when we were little, we would watch a whole bunch of dinosaur documentaries, and I just remember thinking they looked so cool. And we also watched Land Before Time, and I think one of the characters was Sarah the Triceratops, and I liked her. Who is your favorite artist? Growing up, I was obsessed with All Time Low. Now my favorite artist is obviously Taylor Swift. Grew up with her, love her, read her songs like poetry. It's gorgeous. The Rex, which I recommend. Sometimes I'll use their sound on TikTok and I'll be like one of the only people who use their sound. They have one about coffee. I made 2 of the 3 videos on that sound. I also like Catfish and the Bottlemen. Also, my most favorite artist, it is my best friend Adele. She does music. She's on iTunes, Adele Eckhart, and YouTube, Adele Films. We wrote 3 songs together. So I got my brother this blanket, him and his girlfriend. Ugh, but does it look kind of gross? I'm like deciding if I should wash it beforehand, but I think I'm just not going to. The next question is, what book or movie means a lot to you personally? Well, I just read recently Man's Search for Meaning because my mom recommended it, and it is so freaking good. It's a kind of like a memoir about this guy who survived a concentration camp during World War II, and it's just his experience about the meaning of life and how you can find meaning in even the most dire of circumstances, and it really put life into perspective. So I recommend Man's Search for Meaning. My favorite movie is Shrek 2. I'm trying to like stuff this blanket back in the box. People might get really mad at me because I don't measure anything when I wrap. Apologies if this is triggering. That looks about right. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? I always wanted the superpower to like grow plants. Like I thought that would be so cool. And like in my head it's like for vengeance. Like I want to like be able to wrap vines around people. And then also when I was growing up, I was obsessed with Wizard 101, and I wanted to have the powers of the life wizard, which is like you can heal people. And then my character was life and death, and I thought that was super cool, even though everybody's like, that's so weak. I don't care. I like the fact that I could heal people and then also suck the life out of people and then heal other people with the life that I sucked out of the other people. Where are you from? I'm from Seattle. What the frick? Oh, I'm a West Coast baby through and through. If you dyed your hair, what color would it be? Beautiful! I've always wanted like a pastel pink, but realistically, I'll probably get it just lightened. Like I've gotten a balayage before and I really liked it. What is your hair routine? It really is just like mousse, and I just kind of pop and plop and then it's done. What's your top 5 favorite Taylor Swift albums? I cannot do that. That like stresses me out. But my top favorite through and through is Red by Taylor Swift. Love that freaking album. If you could change one thing about every person in the world, what would it be? Ignoring the ethical dilemma there, I think I would just make everybody have more empathy. Are you taken? Maybe? Hopefully. Editing Laura here. At the time this video is going up, I'm a taken woman. Yes! We're moving on to the next section, which is Tosh focused. Let me grab you. Tosh, So the first question is, how is it existing with a self-aware person, dear cat? There's your answer. I think she thinks it's fine. She tolerates me. How old is Tosh? We're not sure. We got her from our neighbors. I think she was like 2 when we got her. And I think I got her like 6 years ago. 6, 7, 8. I think she's about 8 years old. Hi, pretty kitty. What mannerism brings you closer to your cat? Well, she likes to lick me. She licks me in the middle of the night. I'll wake up and she'll be licking me and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to sleep, man. What's your cat's favorite toy to play with? A laser. Can I have your cat? No. Pretty kitty, we love you. Okay. The next section is mental health. The first question is, how do you stay so positive? That's a really tricky question because ask my friends, I'm not always positive. And I thought spiral. So it's not always happy. I do think though that naturally when I'm not anxious and depressy, I am excited for life. Getting my coffee in the morning, I love it. So I feel like just trying to like appreciate the little things in life and like not taking for granted being able to get a coffee in the morning, being able to have a Christmas tree, being able to wear a nice sweater. That really does help me put into perspective life. The next question is, what's your favorite form of self-care? Oh, that's so tough. I mean, it's not tough. One of the things that helps me that my therapist told me about was that when you are stressed and you need to calm down, you can use things that affect the 5 senses. So like, that's why like lighting a candle with a nice smell may help you center yourself. Getting wrapped up in a warm, cozy sweater or cozy socks or a cozy blanket helps center yourself. Eating a nice comfort food meal, that helps center you. And it's just doing all these things that remind your body you're okay and you are safe. And it kind of takes you out of that hyper anxious mode. So that is something that I will usually do if I'm not feeling very good and I'm like spiraling. My like favorite like preemptive, I call it, self-care is like going to a coffee shop. Like on my days off in the mornings, I like to go to a coffee shop. I like to bring my book or my laptop and I like to write or read. And I just sit there, sip my coffee, be a little mindful and have a good morning. I feel like that's one of my super favorite preemptive self-cares, that if I don't have that space for myself every once in a while, I get really stressed out. And then the other thing is I do a lot of affirmations, as cringy as that sounds. But it's just like reminding myself I'm awesome, because I have a lot of negative self-talk. Constantly what runs through my mind is you are not awesome, you're a failure, you're a loser, blah, blah, blah. So then I try to combat that with, no, actually, I am awesome. I'm getting there. I'm becoming somebody I like. And I remind myself all the things I like about myself, which is hard to do, but it does really help. What's your outlook on life and how did you get here? I don't know exactly how I got here. I feel like it's been a journey, but my outlook on life, I can't tell if it's positive or negative. It really depends. It really flip-flops between glass half full, glass half empty, and I'm starting to work on getting to the glass is how it is. I'm trying to train myself. What is happening right now is okay, and it doesn't need to be super exciting and it doesn't need to be super terrible. Sometimes it just is what it is. So that's something I'm working on right now, is just acceptance. I went to an acceptance and commitment therapy conference for psychology. That was cool. I recommend checking out acceptance and commitment therapy. If you're comfortable sharing, have you dealt with depression? Yes, I have. I have medication for my depression and anxiety currently, which has been helping quite a bit. I accidentally went off of it cold turkey a few months ago, and that was a terrible, terrible, horrible, horrendous experience. I went to therapy when I was 7 because I had a really bad anxiety, and then I stopped, and then I went back to therapy when I was 17. I feel like between the ages of like 14, 15, and like 17 to 20 is when my depression was like at its worst. But yeah, I'm just a girl. That was odd. That was an odd thing to say. I'm happy to have the people I do who care about me. So yes, I do struggle with it. What are you thinking about when you're alone? My friend used to make fun of me because when I fall asleep, I like to listen to a YouTube video, and I switch between what I listen to, but for a while there, I was listening to this guy called Medieval Madness, and he would just do a whole bunch of random stories about medieval time. So I do think quite a bit about the medieval time. Also, Stefan Milo, He does like anthropology, evolution stuff. So I also think a lot about that. So the next question is, what's your inspiration for daily reminders? And honestly, there's not much to it. It's just kind of things I need to tell myself. I started doing the daily reminders to kind of hype myself up for work, and they just kind of stuck. So it really is just something that I need to hear, that I thought, hey, maybe you need to hear it too. And honestly, I am guilty of this, as cringe as it may be, but I will go back to my daily reminders and I'll listen to it and I'll be like, okay, I can do it. Ooh, does being pretty make life easier or harder? This question baffles me. Like growing up, I had acne all over. Also, like I hadn't grown into my features. I looked like this. This was me. So it's hard to tell that girl that she's pretty. I still really struggle with the idea that people like how I look, because it's so ingrained in me that like, I'm not. I guess like when I start to like how I look, I feel more confident, and that makes life a bit easier, because if I'm more confident, then I'm more outgoing and I feel capable talking to people, like that type of stuff, like online, like right now, like look at this, 50K on TikTok, which is awesome. But I wouldn't know if that would have happened back then, because I wasn't on TikTok back then, because I didn't feel confident enough. So I don't know. What are some simple things that you do daily to remind yourself that it's gonna be okay? So since I'm prone to like anxiety spiraling, I like to tell myself that I just remind myself that it'll be okay. So I will repeat phrases, which I know some people are like, affirmations don't work. To each their own. But I will repeat phrases to kind of combat the spiraling. For example, there was a day when I was going to work and I was having a really bad morning. I couldn't stop thinking about just how awful it was and how awful I felt and how awful I am. And then I had to go to work and I was stressed because I was like, people there don't even like me. I'm gonna go there and everybody's gonna hate that I'm there, blah, blah, blah. And then as I was walking to work, I stopped myself and I said, okay, Laura, when you get to work, it will be a fresh start. And that really helped. I just repeated that phrase so much until I believed it. Everything will be okay. Allow work to be a transition. Work is a transition from morning to evening, and kind of putting it into perspective that one, this is a fresh start. I don't need to carry all these emotions with me into my job and into this new space. That kind of was relieving. Two, the fact that everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. Just kind of reminding myself, okay, it's gonna be okay. This is a fresh start. And three is that because I was overwhelmed as well by the idea of work, because I wasn't quite comfortable there, just thinking of it as a transition and thinking about it, okay, you're going in, you're doing your stuff, then you're gonna go. All that stuff, I just repeated it until I believed it. It felt inauthentic at first, and then it started to feel more authentic, and then I could start saying other things like, I got this, I'm awesome, I'm good at my job, I'm capable, and then just repeating those things until they felt comfortable, kind of grounding myself in like, this doesn't need to be a big thing. I am capable, I know myself, I can do this. Are you scared of things that are considered weird to be scared of? Yes, I'm scared of literally so many things. I mean, I'm afraid of heights. That's not, I guess, weird. I'm afraid of Cascadia, which is like the giant earthquake that's happening, that will happen at some point in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest. And I think about it nearly every day, especially when I'm driving on freeways or going into Seattle. I think about, oh my god, the earthquake, oh my god. And then I think about what I will do if there was an earthquake, and then I freak out when I go over bridges. So, or by landslide areas. Who has helped you stay optimistic or calm when feeling depressed or anxious? My friend Olivia has been a really great support. I feel like she has a way of kind of bringing me out of my own head in a very friendly manner, and just also giving me a slice of reality. Tell us about your experience with perfectionism. Yes, I was talking with my mom about it, and we kind of discovered I don't need everything to be perfect. Like, I'm not a perfectionist in that sense. I just don't want the things I do to be bad. Like, I have a fear of doing it wrong. I don't want to do it wrong. I don't want people to look at me and think, oh, she's doing it wrong. She doesn't know what she's doing. So not that like everything needs to be great and amazing and perfect, but it just needs to not be bad, and I need to not look like a failure. And that's why it's like, it's hard for me to start new things. Like, I tried to play pool with my friend Olivia and some of our friends back in Scotland. I was so bad at it that I hated it the whole time. I was like, everybody's perceiving me as not good, and since I'm not good at this, that means means that my worth is bad. So it's kind of like that is my experience with perfectionism. Coffee break. The next section is kind of TikTok and Instagram inspired / poetry, because that's one of my Instagrams. What made you start your wholesome positivity TikTok? So I started it a few years ago. Oh my god, actually back when I was at Starbucks. So that was like 2020. Backstory. I started working at Starbucks because I was very socially anxious, and I told myself I want to get better at socializing, and I wanted to be able to have conversations with people and practice just like small talk. When I went into Starbucks, I liked the vibe and I was like, everybody's so friendly. So I applied for Starbucks and I got the job, and so that was kind of like a nerve-wracking experience though, every day going into work knowing I would have to talk to people because that was my job. Before every shift, I would kind of hype myself up. I'd be like, you got this, you're awesome, you're capable, you are strong, you can ask people how their day is. And then I would create documents literally describing, okay, what did I do this weekend? If people ask me, what questions can I ask other people? What current events are going on that I can ask them about? What would be my response to their question? Like, it was so thought out because I was so nervous about it. That's where I started out, is like actually scripting whole conversations and whole lists of questions and whole responses to their questions if they asked me. So before those stressful days of work, I would hype myself up and tell myself that I'm strong and that I'm awesome and I got this. I don't know, I don't know how it happened, but I started posting them on TikTok. They didn't do very good, but I did them anyway. I went through phases where I like would delete TikTok and then get it back and then delete it and then get it back, but I always kind of did something like that. So yeah, that's kind of what made me start, is like my own need for them. What made you write poems? I've always written poems. I remember when I was 7, I would write my mom songs and poems, and I just remember like I hung it on my wall. And it was always for my mom. I liked writing for people. At the beginning, it wasn't really like a for me thing. It was I would write something because I wanted to show somebody something I've done. But yeah, and then I think I stopped for a while, and then I would write a lot of emo poetry in middle school and the beginning of high school. And then I think back in like 2022, I started writing like for real. It's not like amazing, but it helps me process emotions. I love poetry and I think everybody should write poetry. What is your favorite poem that you've written? My favorite poem is, I wouldn't say it's like technically the best, but it's called Whidbey Island. I like it because it's just very meaningful to me, and it will be in my poetry book, so you can look at it. How many proposals have you gotten in your comments? Yeah, quite a few. And it's funny because the very next question on Instagram is, when's our marriage? Sorry. The next section is future plans. What are you doing for school? Change of plans. For a while there, I was gonna go to school for psychology, get a master's. And then for a little while there, I was like, I just wanna learn. So I was like, I'll go to school for creative writing. But oh my gosh, those schools are so expensive. Change of plans, I'm not. Was one of the reasons because I know somebody who I like in Boston, and I wanted to go to Boston and live in Boston and have a reason to live in Boston, maybe. We'll put it to rest. I'll come out with my poetry book, maybe come out with my other book that I'm writing, and then after that I'll have a bit of a resume built up and I'll see, okay, maybe now I can actually get like professional help from school. What things are you excited about in 2025? I'm excited for a lot of things. I'm excited for my poetry book to come out. It's almost done being formatted. I just have to get the cover ready and then put it on the Kindle thing. And then I'm actually gonna sell it on my website, which I'm also in the midst of making. So I'm thinking probably more news will come out about it in New Year's. But yeah, I'm excited for that giant thing. In 2025, I'm also excited to travel. I'm hoping to go back to Edinburgh for a while and visit my friends there, which will be really cool. There's like a little journal in the small town I live, and I was talking with my boss and we're thinking about adding like a creative writing segment to it, and I could put my writing on there. So that would be really cool. So I'm excited for that. We're gonna talk about it with my boss this week. We're having a little meeting. And then I'm excited because Aiden is coming over for New Year's. So that'll be my first taste of 2025, and I'm really excited for that. I think that'll be a good way to start it out. What's something on your bucket list? That would be the book, coming out with a book. I want to travel. I love making vlogs. So I really want to do more travel vlogs. I think that would be really cool. But also the idea of having a bucket list scares me, because then I feel like, what if I don't check off everything on the bucket list? Will I be unfulfilled? What will happen? What's your dream job? This making videos, or obviously an author. I would love to be an author. And then I would also love to own a coffee shop, and it would be like a writing coffee shop. So writers or readers would go there, and we'd have like book clubs and writing clubs and stuff like that. Any news on the book? Yes, well, kind of. We will have more news probably in January. The last segment is the advice segment. I am a little nervous for this. This looks terrible. Yay! What do you got for someone who is a little depressed and working on a crush? Sometimes when I feel a bit depressy and I have a crush on somebody, or I like somebody, or even I'm in a relationship with somebody, I feel really guilty, because I'm like, I'm sad, and how can I subject them to my sadness? Is that selfish? Will they like me when they find out the real me, the sad me? I just want you to know that you are valued for you, and they will like you for you if they are the right person. So if you're worried about them not liking you because you're sad, then the fact of the matter is they will like you if they're the right fit. And if they're not the right fit, then you don't need them anyway. And that's okay. Not everybody is gonna be for you. You got this. I don't know where the point of my finger is. You got this. I'm rooting for you. What can you say to someone who's going through a breakup and it's their fault for that? So what I'm assuming you mean is that you and somebody are going through a breakup because you feel like it's because you made a mistake and you caused the breakup. And it sounds to me like you're a bit unhappy about that. I'm just here to say, make sure you have time for yourself and you give yourself care, because we're not all perfect. And it's okay to make mistakes. And it's also okay to let people go out of our lives. I don't know if you want them back or if you don't want them back. I think you can always learn from your mistakes. If it was something you did, just kind of realize, oh, okay, so that doesn't really fly with some people. Maybe in the future I won't do that. And then if it is something that you stand by, then maybe they weren't the right fit for you anyway. So either way, you can learn and you can grow. Just remember to be kind to yourself, because we're all human and we all make mistakes and we all do silly, goofy things. And that's okay. For people pleasers, how do you identify your own wants/needs when they differ from others? I think I can interpret this question two ways. One is like, how do you tell other people that your needs differ from theirs? And I honestly just think it's repetition. It's like uncomfortable. I think it's hard. Like, it's hard as a people pleaser to set boundaries and tell people what you actually want, especially if it's different from what they want. And sometimes we think, oh my gosh, if I set my boundary, they're not gonna like me anymore, blah, blah, blah. But that's not true. So I think for me, it's just repetition of being uncomfortable, of setting the boundary or saying, hey, actually, I prefer this, or this would be more helpful for me, like whatever it is. And then you just keep doing that with situations that arise and you're uncomfortable and it's scary and your heart beats really fast, but you do it. And then your body learns, one, you can stand up for yourself and you can set boundaries and you can say, hey, actually, I would prefer this. And two, you kind of learn, oh, people don't usually get as mad when you set a boundary, or when you say, hey, actually, I kind of want Thai food instead of pizza. Like, even something like that. Like, people are usually okay with it, and then that kind of creates data so you can remember in the future, like, oh, this one time I set a boundary, this other time I set a boundary, and this other time I set a boundary, and it all turned out okay, so I can set a boundary today. But then the other way to interpret that question is asking how you know when your needs are different from other people. I feel like usually, at least my body, I'll know, ooh, I don't like this. I don't like this decision. I don't like this action. And it just feels like dichotomous. Like, it feels like two parts of me are warring, and it's the part that wants to please people and the part that is like, this doesn't feel right with me. Like, this isn't my value. This isn't what I actually want. I don't want pizza. I want Thai food. And so then you kind of just feel like this uncomfort and this like disconnect. And like, then that is kind of when you know, oh, maybe that's not the decision I want to be making. I think that's it for now. Oh my gosh, if I didn't get to your question, I'm so sorry. I think Adele and I might do one more little video for the reels, so stay tuned for that. I appreciate you guys. You are freaking awesome, and I feel so lucky to have such a supportive, wonderful community. Oh my gosh. I only got to a few presents. This one actually I think was wrapped the best. Thank you for sending in questions. I really truly did not think many people were gonna send in questions. I thought I was gonna get like 5 max. But yeah, okay. I hope you guys all, oh, the tree. I hope you guys all have an awesome, amazing, wonderful holiday season, and I can't wait to talk to you later. Okay, bye.